Stephen Amell. I was like, so I'm going to go out, I'm going to do some house rules, talk about no flash photography. He's like, I'm just going to walk out with you. I'm like, all right, fine, come on out. Hey, he made it, everybody. Thank you so much, man. I know your con schedule is crazy, but these guys were going ape shit for you on Twitter. I was like, well, we got to get him, otherwise I might get killed, so. FYI, Steven's going to do some Smiles for Smiles after the panel. Because he's such a good dude. I love you.
I love you too.
So he knows the drill. You guys know the drill. Who has got the first right over on the right? Go ahead and stand up.
Hi, thank you so much for doing an excellent job last night. The footage was amazing.
Thank you so much.
And my question is, how many of the stunts do you get to do? And then have you had a favorite throughout the seasons?
I get to do more than they would like. They never want me to do a lot of the stunts that I do. I always try to find more practical ways to allow myself to do stunts. As for a favorite, there's not a particularly favorite stunt, but a lot of times what happens, like for example, in the second episode this year, spoiler, I'm interrogating a guy and I'm trying to get information from him. And the script called for me to put on this intricate wrist lock where I'm like breaking his wrist and I'm asking for information. And instead I talked to our fight choreographer, James Bamford, and I said, well, how about instead of like twerking this guy's wrist a little bit, I just punch him in the stomach as hard as I can. And then when he doesn't give me information again, I crack him in the leg with my bow as hard as, and so anyway, the point is that we're always working on the stunt side.
The point is we're always trying to beat the crap out of people.
That's right.
And
That's
twerk
right.
their wrists. Who is next? Who's got the next? Right over here, right on the right.
Hi, Steven.
Hey, man.
Since the movie is the movie universe and the TV shows have their own universe,
Yeah.
and Steven can't play Bruce Wayne anymore, who would you like to see play Bruce Wayne?
Who would I like to see play
Bruce Wayne. Since Steven can't do it anymore.
in the TV universe?
TV universe, because he's on Flash now.
And now, Robbie's on Flash, you mean?
Sorry, Robbie.
Robbie's on Flash. So who would play Bruce Wayne?
Okay, fine, I'll do it.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Liar. I'm just going to move on that. Yes, right over there.
Hello, Zach. Hello, Steven. First, I'd like to say thank you to the NerdHQ volunteers. They're doing an amazing job this year.
And thank you to Zach. It is Sunday morning at 9 a.m. This is amazing. You rule.
Hey, and you're here at 9 a.m. and you're here at 9 a.m. So thank you guys very much for being here. Oh, I'm sorry, before your question, I'm sorry, I forgot to do the house rules. Is there any flash photography allowed at this panel? No! So why am I still seeing flashes? Is there any video allowed at the panel? No! Are you having fun thus far?
Yeah!
Yay! Oh, and because it's standing room only, thank you guys so much for buying up the standing room. We've raised over $7,000 for Operation Smile.
And now your question, sir.
Yes, Steven, my name is Brian, and I'm a martial artist as well, and I was wondering how much martial arts have you taken for your role, and has it interested you in doing more martial arts or seeking to learn more?
On the learning side, absolutely. I've learned the basics. I haven't learned any specific type of martial art for Arrow, because again, I always gravitate towards punching people in the face as hard as I can. But I've become very interested, and I would say if I'm interested in a particular martial art, it would be fighting on screen. Like, I watch films that our fight choreographer recommends to us to just see and appreciate and understand really good on-screen combat. That make sense? Cool.
Right there.
Nice shirt.
Hi, Stephen. I'm a fellow Canadian, so it's nice to see you.
Where are you from? What?
Winnipeg.
Hey, all right.
You have a busy filming schedule, plus you're really active on your Facebook page and Twitter, your charity work, as well as Knocking Points Wine. I'm just wondering how on earth you find all the energy to fit all that in.
All right, when I moved to Los Angeles in 2010, my goal was to work 100 days. And I think in 2011, I made it to like 95. So now, it's not so much about working 100 days. I more count my years and the days that I have off. But the reason that I bring that up is because I think about that original goal as a constant reminder to me that I am absolutely unequivocally living my dream right now. So whenever production gets busy, I just always try to remember how much I wanted this in the first place. And that makes being active on all of these different platforms easy.
Who's got you right over here?
Hey guys,
That's a good shirt.
I just wanted to thank you for being here. My name's Antonio. I think everyone can agree here. You would crush American Ninja Warrior. So I was wondering, anytime in the future, if you have any free time.
Well, free time is the key term right there. So American Ninja Warrior actually got in touch with my manager and was like, yeah, we want Steven to do it. And I turned to him and I'm like, well, I mean, like logistically, it could be a little bit of an issue. And he goes, not so much. But the difference between doing Ninja Warrior and winning Ninja Warrior requires a lot of training. So we'll see. But I wouldn't rule that out. I really think the opportunity to do Ninja Warrior is definitely in play.
Go ahead. Yep, right here.
Hi, I'm Brandy. My boyfriend couldn't be here because he gave his seat to his little brother.
He's a good dude.
He had a bunch of questions, but I think I'm only going to ask 2 of them. He keeps texting me. He wanted, spoiler, he wanted to know what it was like filming in the tunnel with Roy, Black Canary, and the League of Shadows when you were all fighting the Deathstroke Army.
That was super cool. You know, we had our first episode of the season was called City of Heroes. So for our finale, to have me and Roy and Canary and Nissa and the League of Assassins walking down the tunnel, the thing that we had to always consider when we were doing that is we're about to go into a battle. So we can't have a stupid grin on our face because this whole experience is so cool. And that's something that I always told Katie Lotz when, you know, we'd be like on a motorbike, we'd be doing something great. And I would turn to her right before we rolled and I would go, oh, hey, remember, you gotta look super cool when you're doing this. But you can't try to look cool, effortlessly cool.
Okay, the second part was, he said, if the Avengers if you and Hawkeye...
I beat Hawkeye in any type of contest.
He also wanted to know if you guys were in the Avengers together, who would have the bow, you or him?
Oh, he'd hold it for me. I think a gentleman here has like a bow and arrows right here. Is that true?
Oh, he's
can
done
Can
up.
I get them up here? I'll feel safer if I have them up here. Thank you so much. I'm gonna sign them, but let's keep going.
Who's got the next question? Right down here in front.
Hi. So my cousin is at home watching, and he's a huge fan. So he was hoping you'd do a little shout out to him,
What's his name?
Mike. But so he's actually a huge Boston sports fan.
That's a really long name. Mike Buddy's really a Boston sports fan. Is that Polish? I'm sorry, continue.
Sorry. So I was hoping you'd just do a little "Go Kings Go" chant instead.
Go Kings Go. I was there, Game 5, when they won. It was unbelievable. Any Kings fans here? You can't boo. They're Stanley Cup champions.
Thanks for that.
Well, yeah, well, the Sharks gave up a 3-0 series lead. It's happened 4 times in the history of hockey. Anyway, sorry, what was your question?
So my question is, if you could have Zach on Arrow, would you want him on Team Arrow, or would you want to beat him up?
Can we split the difference and have him on Team Arrow, but then he crosses me and then I beat him up?
Yeah, that sounds good. Who's next? Right over here.
Okay. Is there any point in the next season where Diggle would do a dance called the Diggle Jiggle?
I saw a really good meme the other day where it was like this penguin doing something weird. It's like, what do you want to do, penguin? And then it was just Diggle with a gun saying, Diggle, Diggle, Diggle. There's just... What an awesome name Diggle is. There's just so much fun to be done. And I hope that David Ramsey has to dance on the show because I'm certainly not going to.
Next question. Right over there on the right.
Hello, Stephen. My name's Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
Nice to meet you. I'm sure everyone has really wonderful questions about Arrow. I'm not one of those people. My question is about your role on Hung.
Sure.
Where you play Jason, a male prostitute. And the season that the season that you joined, though, happened to be the end of Hung, unfortunately.
Yeah, I cursed the show, okay?
I don't blame you, but that's where you first came to my attention, you and your handsome face.
Okay.
So, I was just wondering if you and the writers had discussed where, like, your character would have gone, especially, like, the interesting question that came up when your pimp/girlfriend...
Lenore was shot.
Yeah. Lenore also, there was a discussion that she could get you to have sex with men and women.
Yeah, one of the things that we always understood about Jason, and we never got to explore it, was that one of the reasons that he was a more successful hoe than Thomas Jane's character was because Jason did dudes. And that's it. Did I just say that? That was a part of the character that we never got to explore, and I'm sad that we didn't. I was overall, I was sad that Hung got canceled. I mean, that was a great show run by great people and good ratings, and you know, unfortunately, you know, not to like pull the curtain too far back, but I don't think that half-hour comedies are what moves the meter at HBO. Game of Thrones is what moves the meter at HBO. They're hour-long dramas, so it got canceled, but I got Arrow. So, you know, from there forward, I'm just gonna run like Misha Collins is waiting at the finish line.
Who's got the next question? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. First, can I have a high five, please?
Yeah.
My question is, which scene did you enjoy the most this season?
Which what?
Which scene? Which scene?
Scene. This is gonna sound a little weird, but I really enjoyed Moira's death scene. If you're getting spoiled, you're at the wrong panel. So Moira dies in season 2. Susanna Thompson, who's actually a native from San Diego. Yeah, absolutely. It was my favorite scene because it was very creatively satisfying to set up this character and to feel that sort of loss after, at that point, oh God, 43 episodes. That was incredibly satisfying for me as an actor. I didn't like it. I liked when it was over, but I actually think that our 20th episode last year, the episode where Moira dies, is the best work that we've done. So for that reason, it was my favorite scene.
Hi. I wanted to ask, because I'm a huge Felicity Oliver shipper, what's your favorite scene that you have shot between Oliver and Felicity?
The scene in the premiere. Not counting that because you haven't seen it. The very first scene that we shot, which we reference in the premiere this year. As a little bit of a longer answer, as the lead on a show, it was always incredibly important to me to be welcoming and to be nurturing for our guest cast. And Emily was my first guest star. Like, we didn't really have one in the second episode. Well, we had a guy that I threatened, but that didn't really count. Emily was our first real guest star. And so I remember we shot on a Friday in a building in Vancouver, and she and I had like 20 minutes in the cast room beforehand, and I wanted to get to know her because I thought back to when I did Private Practice, and Amy Brenneman, who also dated Tom Welling before he did Smallville on her show Judging Amy. She's like, I nurture superheroes on television. The first scene that we ever had to shoot together was a really intimate date scene. And she was so lovely and so welcoming, and it made my job so much easier. So I had that same thought, and I still have that same thought when it comes to guest stars on our show. So for that reason, the first scene between Emily and I is my favorite.
Hi, I'm Russ. First off, I want to say a huge fan of you, and I also love how your Facebook, how you constantly update it, and you're the one running it. I think that's really awesome.
Thanks, man.
My question is, if you could pick any supervillain ever, who would you play?
The Riddler. I think I actually said that to Jeff Johns at like 2 o'clock in the morning Saturday. Hey, Jeff, I want to play the Riddler. That actually happened. The Riddler. That's an awesome villain, and it hasn't been in the modern, well, I guess post turn of the century versions of Batman. So that would be cool.
Who's next? Right over here.
Hi.
Hey.
My name's Shannon, and I was wondering if, first of all, you could say hi to my sister Kenzie, who couldn't be here.
Well, hi, Kenzie, that couldn't be here.
Thank you. And my question is, I had to write it down so I wouldn't forget it. One of my favorite things about the DC universe and the show is how strong the women are, how strong they're portrayed. I was wondering if you think there's any chance we'll see the Birds of Prey, like Batgirl, all that stuff, united on the show.
I don't know about Batgirl, but I do know that the writers on the show, if they were to have a favorite moment collectively from season 2, it was that episode 16 was called The Suicide Squad, episode 17 was called Birds of Prey, and episode 18 was called Deathstroke. That sort of holy trinity was really important to them. And I thought that we really graduated Jess Segal's Huntress character in episode 17 last year. Like, it wasn't particularly interesting her having this vendetta against her father. So now her father's dead, spoiler alert, and am I doing that right?
Sure.
I think that she will come back and look, Birds of Prey, awesome. I hope that, like, hey, Birds of Prey, take a couple of episodes. Let me go on vacation. That'd be awesome.
I actually have a few Facebook questions here.
Okay.
From the Nerd Machine Facebook page. Marion wants to know if you would ever consider writing an entire episode of Arrow.
I wouldn't consider writing one, but I'd consider directing one. Yeah. Big time.
Who's got the next question in the audience? Right there.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering, I know you do a lot of physical preparation for your role. What kind of things do you do to mentally prepare for Oliver?
So, it's really interesting. When we're filming, it's so busy that I try not to look too far ahead. So, I tend to get a script maybe 10 to 15 days before we start shooting. And it'll be an early version of the script. And I'll read it, and then I'll wait for the next version, and I'll read that, and then I'll get the production version, and I'll read that 2 or 3 times. And then from there, it's hands off. I just show up. I know where Oliver is in his story, in his journey, be it the present day or the flashbacks. I'm not a big line memorizer. I like to know what the scene is about, and then if the writing is good, and it is, then the words just take care of themselves.
Good answer. I never read my...
What's your preparation like, Zach?
I just show up and be. I mean, it basically was Chuck, so I didn't have to do a lot of preparation. Who's got the next question? Right here.
Hi.
Hey.
First of all, thank you so much for being here and being here so early on a Sunday, the last
I gotta
day
say,
of Comic-Con.
I was absolutely petrified of sleeping in this morning. I had an alarm clock. I had Zach's volunteers banging on my door at 8 o'clock in case I slept in. I had my manager. I made it.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm going to pass out as soon as this panel's over, by the way. Okay, what's your question?
Secondly, well, my friend has an Arrow shirt that I want you to see. She just got it here at Comic-Con.
That's really cool. I saw that. That's really cool fan art. Very nice.
It's by an artist named Jason Palmer, if you want to look him up.
Very cool.
And my question is, you work so hard and your stunts are so intense for the show and you do a lot of training. What do you do to relax and have fun when you're not working to kind of decompress?
I hang with Jared Padalecki, pretty much. No. I actually visited Jared in Austin over the break, and his guest house is the nicest house that I've ever stayed in. No, when it comes time to relax, what do I like to do? I like to watch sports. I like to watch football. Football Sundays are sacred to me. And go Chargers. I feel like maybe you guys have a moment this year. I'm not sure. You never know in the NFL. Phil Rivers is due. I like to watch football, and now it's totally different because now I get to hang with my daughter, and she's like super cool and interesting, and apparently a vegetarian, which is weird, but this hiatus was really good. The hiatus after our first season. I got sick because I was worn down. I got walking pneumonia. Awful. Which I realized when I went to China and I tried to take a deep breath and I started wheezing. But this year during hiatus, I was actually supposed to work. I had a film that was ready to go and it fell apart at the last minute. And then I had another film that was ready to go and it fell apart at the last minute. And so I was like, fuck this. I'm taking a vacation. Pardon me. And so we went to, where did we go? We went to Palm Springs, we went to Sedona, we went to Austin, we relaxed, and it was really nice.
Yeah, yes. Clap for vacation. Who's got the next one? Right over here.
Morning. So it was mentioned several times before that you're very active on Facebook and Twitter, etc. Is it something that you feel is important for an artist to always be able to be connected to their fans? And do you find it more difficult now that you're becoming bigger to kind of stay on that same level?
I don't find it. That was a two-part question. I'm not gonna judge anybody that is an actor in 2014 that is not present on social media concurrently. What's wrong with you if you're not? But I actually thought that it would. I contradicted myself just there, didn't I? I actually thought that it would be a little bit more difficult as my page grew, and what I've actually found is that now I have almost 2.5 million friends on Facebook, and it's become easier because when something's important, when someone makes a good comment, when someone creates good fan art, it bubbles to the top, and I can see it. And being connected to the fan base makes our 190-day, 23-episode shoot easier. When you're on a rooftop at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's raining and your archery coach is yelling at you to lift your elbow. Seeing people enjoy the show and having a connection to the fan base that way fills you up. So I'm always going to do that.
Right over on the right.
Good morning. Hey. My name's Michelle, and when you were in Phoenix recently, you got to take your daughter to her first baseball game, which I thought was really cool. My question for you is, what kids movie are you really excited to show your daughter? And Zach's a big Disney nerd, so might earn some extra points if it's a Disney movie.
Is Die Hard a Disney movie? Die Hard's a Christmas movie. And the best Christmas movie. And Alan Rickman is my choice guest star on Arrow, should it ever happen. How did we get here? What was the question? Kids movies. What I feel like we should do with iTunes nowadays is we should just sort of go back to early. I should basically get to relive the way that I watched kids movies with my daughter. Oh my God, did you hear? Cinderella just came out. Kids don't know, they're stupid. You can just say. Well, they're not stupid, they just don't know. You can trick them. What's going to be the one, though? I feel like for my daughter, the one is probably going to... In my heart, it would be Aladdin, but in reality, it's probably going to be The Little Mermaid. She wants to go where the people are.
Careful, careful. They'll make you do the whole thing.
Never! Flash is absolutely going to have a musical episode at some point. Grant Gustin, Jesse Martin, and they'd be idiots if they didn't have a musical episode. Arrow, despite the fact that John Barrowman is joining us as a regular this year, is never going to have a musical episode. Unless we do, which is possible.
Yes, right here.
Hi, my name's Steven, and spelled the same way, so way to represent.
Because otherwise, I'd be telling you to sit down.
Exactly. No V-E-N. Screw that. My question is, Brandon Roth is now joining.
Yeah.
And I love Superman Returns. I know it wasn't very loved everywhere. But I'm just kind of curious, what was it like to work with him? And have you guys talked about the whole Superman Arrow, anything?
That we haven't talked about, but having Brandon on the show, it adds a wrinkle that's incredibly important for the third season. I think we have two wrinkles in the third season. One, Oliver's flashbacks being in Hong Kong and not on the island. I think that's incredibly important and cool. And Brandon brings a gravity to the show and a lightness that hasn't totally been present in the first couple of seasons. I mean, I love playing Oliver, but I think I went like 9 straight episodes last year without cracking a smile. And Oliver smiles a bunch in the premiere this year, and it was a really awkward, tough thing to do. Our director, Glenn Winter, who was director of photography on the pilot, he's directed some of our greatest episodes. When it came time to smile, he was like, all right, give me a smile. That's not enough. Okay, that's too much. I've got choices. What was the question? Brandon's awesome. And I mean that sincerely. He's sincerely. Sunday morning Comic-Con, what are we doing? He's an element on the show this year that we absolutely need, and he's been a total pro so far, just soaking up the show, and we're very lucky to have him. Go Kings, go. By the way, can I just say, I've been to Petco Park once for a baseball game. It was a Blue Jays-Padres game in 2010. The Blue Jays won, of course, and in the 7th inning, there was an earthquake. We're sitting there, and the stadium started to shake. And
Welcome
there was
to
a fucking
California.
earthquake in the 7th inning. It's a true story. Anyway, I felt the need to share that because I remember.
Earthquakes are pretty memorable.
Earthquakes are pretty memorable. Jose Bautista hit a homer. It was awesome.
I think right over here.
A lot of stunt-related questions. I don't know if they ever bother you, but have you ever been injured just even in training or practicing for the level of physique you have to maintain for Arrow?
I hurt myself last year. It was the sequence where randomly there's a giant tire in the middle of the Arrow cave, and Oliver is slamming it with a sledgehammer, as you do. And in between takes, it was super cold on the stage, and in between takes, I was doing the salmon ladder, as you do, and I tried to get the bar down from one of the top rungs, and I pinched a nerve in my back, and it was really painful. But we have a wonderful RMT in Vancouver. Her name is Diane, and she's the person that fixes the stunt guys. Like, a stunt guy gets hurt, he's got to work the next day, she fixes him. So every once in a while, I get a massage from Diane, and I always cry. I'm literally on the table. She's like, is it working? It's working. Everything's good. Keep going. And Diane rules. She's really good at her job. So, pinched nerve in the back. I'm getting old.
I got one more question from Facebook. Steven.
With a PH or a V?
Oh, it's PH. It's your
Okay.
Facebook page.
Okay.
That'd be funny if it was yours and it's spelled with a V. Harrison wants to know, how does the team make you look so different from the island to Starling City? Do you film the island first, then present day?
No, we film the island as we go, episode per episode. And Hong Kong is cool. I have a new wig, and it's good. And we were filming on Wednesday, and we were filming a Hong Kong sequence on a rooftop where Oliver sees Tommy. Spoiler, what? And I came home in the middle of it to say hi to my wife and my daughter. And my daughter sees me with the wig on, and she goes, "Ah!" She freaked out. The point is, the team does a good job of making me look different. Wig. I usually have a black eye for whatever reason. And clothes. We have to make sure that it's very 2090.
Who's got the next one? Right up here, top right.
Hey, follow the Facebook page, and we were all really disappointed to find out there was no place for you in the Batman v Superman movie. But is there a hero that you want to bring onto the show that you're looking forward to working with in the future?
Green Lantern would be cool on the show. I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, the whole Batman v Superman thing, you know, I had to skirt around that question for a while, and I think the important part for me was that we don't need to be a part of the cinematic universe to justify Arrow's existence. I was here in 2012 when DC had no television shows. And now I'm here this year, and this fall we have 5. And you know, as a cast member on Arrow, I take a lot of ownership of that. I think that we have those shows because Arrow has been successful. So if we keep going and we keep doing our job, you're gonna get the Justice League like every Wednesday night. And but yeah, Green Lantern would be cool, right? Yeah, for sure.
What? Right there.
Hello.
Hi.
You do a really great job of differentiating between pre-Arrow Ollie and post-Arrow Ollie, almost to where your voice kind of changes a little bit.
It does change.
Yeah. So, so that was intentional. And then, how do you do that? Like, what's your process for kind of going back and forth?
Shooting the flashbacks is a really cool thing because it constantly forces me to check in with the character. Where am I in this journey? What's happened? You know, and I have a signpost for me, and that's the character that we met in the pilot. The character that we met in the pilot was a remorseless, almost soulless killer. So how does Oliver get there in the flashbacks? And I'm pumped because when we hit the midway point of season 3, I guess, or would be the midway point of season 3, we will basically be hitting the halfway point of his island journey, even though he's in Hong Kong. You know what I mean? So it's very helpful as an actor to be able to constantly check in. Where am I? What's happened? I enjoy it.
Who's got the next one? Right here.
Hi, Steven. Hi. Okay, so by the way, my husband and I both love your show. He's the one who got me into it. I was like, superhero show. I'm not really sure I want to see that, and that show completely blew me away. It has so many different elements for so many different people like that you can take away from it. So good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so my question is, I watched one of your Q&A, and you had mentioned that you like to read. So what are you reading right now? What would you recommend people pick up?
That's been one of the, you know, I never went to university. I got into acting right away, and it was kind of a regret. So I used to read books all the time. Now, Arrow has filled my brain to the point that I can't read. I don't find myself reading books anymore, and it's actually sort of frustrating. I watch television shows now. I watch them, and then I rewatch them. And I would recommend, if you're a fan of television, like, for example, Game of Thrones. Okay, I met the Viper last night. Oh, it was so awesome. Best television character of 2014. There we go. Anyway, I would recommend watching a show and watching it because you like the story, and then rewatch it and focus on things, whether it's a specific character's performance, the style of photography. I love doing that with Game of Thrones, House of Cards, Breaking Bad. I met my wife rewatching the season 3, 4, possibly 3 or 4 finale of Mad Men for the 3rd time. She was the beautiful girl that walks into the office and basically stops Sterling Cooper dead in his tracks. And I was like, I Twitter stalked her. I'm like, who is this person? That's a true story. And we ended up going to the same event a couple of nights later. The point is, watch television. I might have shared too much. Is this This isn't going anywhere other than this room,
No, it's
is
staying
it?
in this room. Yeah, nobody else is seeing this at all. I love that you Twitter stalked your wife. We got time for one, maybe two questions. One, maybe two. So
I'll go rapid fire.
who's got right here?
Hi, Steven.
Hi.
Huge fan. What's your favorite part about Comic-Con?
Favorite part about Comic-Con has been watching. My favorite part of Comic-Con this particular year is twofold. One, we had the best day as a cast yesterday that we've ever had. We had everybody here. Everybody that is a regular on the show that is alive was here. And it was so, it was just so fun to be able to experience it with my fellow castmates. And secondarily, it's been fun watching Grant Gustin experience Comic-Con because he's having the same Comic-Con that I had in 2012. And it's just like, he's got this stupid grin on his face at all times, which he normally does anyway. But the point is, that has been very rewarding and cool.
Who's next?
Did we do it?
No.
Did we? Okay.
Right over here.
Hi. I would have asked an Olicity question, but you already told your favorite story about the time you met her and were nice to her because of Amy Brenneman. So,
Is that how that played? Okay.
So instead, I'll ask, Oliver makes a lot of questionable choices sometimes. Has there ever been a time where you're like, really, buddy? Why would you do that?
There was a moment where I talked to the producers last year, and because this was actually brought up to me on Facebook. And I was like, guys, there's something that I want to bring to your attention. And what can we help you with? Anybody that Oliver is not directly related to on the show, he's slept with. So can we fix that? Can we not do that? Can we have some female characters that Oliver doesn't immediately have to bed? Yeah, his romantic choices leave a little bit to be desired. I will say that. No, I'm always for making questionable choices because, in truth, I don't care if people love Oliver Queen or hate him. I just don't want them to be indifferent. And as long as they're not indifferent, I'm fine with whatever's happening.
Good answer.
Thank you. The opposite of love is not hate, Zach. It's apathy.
You're just dropping knowledge on me this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our time. Please put your hands together for Stephen Amell.
Thank you so much, everybody.
I'll get this signed for you, and I'll bring it back out for you. Sound good? Keep it going for Stephen, everybody. Keep it going for Stephen. Keep it going. Was that fun? Nice.